Welcome back to the Neutral Zone. Today we're going to be talking about the Tennessee Volunteers in the 2023 season. Continue along with our recap series. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. We are giving away the signed Heisman Tim Tebow jersey in our live show on Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. You have to show up to get the chance to win this signed Heisman jersey, so please show up for that. But Dad, how do you feel about Tennessee and their season? In the way it kind of shook out.
Yeah, this is sad to say because again we're talking about a 9-4 team. But obviously, in terms of where I had them, this season was a little disappointing. I thought that they would have been in the national championship picture. I had them beating Georgia. So the fact that they lost so many games, again, a bad Florida team. Missouri ended up being much better than we kind of suspected early. Alabama obviously won the SEC, and then Georgia being Georgia. So not a bunch of bad losses outside of that Florida loss. But those were games that I thought between Georgia, Alabama, they may drop one, but I thought they'd also win one. I did not suspect that they would lose to Missouri, especially 36-7. So this was a season of disappointment. I thought Joe Milton was going to be in the Heisman race. Obviously, that did not come to fruition, although he didn't have a bad season. 2,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. So not a bad season, but not the season that we thought. You remember early in the season or right before the season started, all the YouTube videos showing his massive arm. And then if you remember before he took over for Hendon Hooker last year to include playing Clemson and looked like he was about to be a game buster. And like I said, that just did not fully come to fruition this year. I thought he was going to be a Heisman contender. But when you look at it in the totality, in Tennessee trying to say, hey, we're back, I think you take a 9-4 season and you say, hey, that's pretty good. So they had a good season the year before. You put that with a 9-4 season last year, and you can kind of feel like, okay, maybe we have at least positive momentum as a program. But like I said, I thought this was going to be so much bigger of a year for the Volunteers. I thought they were really going to do something big, and that just did not come to fruition. I'm a little disappointed in their performance last year. What about you?
I am actually disappointed as well. But before I kind of give my reasons why, Tennessee fans, please do not, be upset. If you go back and watch our preview video, I was extremely high on this team. Joe Milton was my Heisman pick. He was a Heisman dark horse for me that I said was going to finish top 3. I was very high on the Tennessee team. They, handled business against Clemson at the end of last season. When I say last season, the end of the 2022 season, just so there's no confusion. They handled business against us in the Orange Bowl. And in my opinion, I thought this was going to be one of the better teams in the SEC. Now, I will say they did have 4 losses, but to play devil's advocate, they lost 3 of those losses came against final top 10 teams in Missouri, Georgia, and Alabama. So, like you said, not bad losses by any means. You're looking at a team who was the 5th or 6th best team in the SEC by the end of the year behind those 3 teams, as well as Ole Miss. So I do think that this season was a letdown just because you go from being a team who, if I'm not mistaken, was ranked number 1 or 2 in the college football playoff rankings in 2022.
At some point, yes.
At some point in time during that year, Josh Heupel had Jalin, Hyatt, Hendon, Hooker, all those guys, with a crazy offensive scheme. And then really to start off the year, it was like night and day. They lost against Florida, and I think that's when we all knew that this team wasn't what we thought they were going to be. I still had hope that this team was so offensively explosive that they'd be able to get a Georgia and Alabama. I didn't think they'd lose to Missouri. Shout out to JB for calling that. But I didn't think they would lose to Alabama and Georgia. I thought maybe they'd lose one of those games and finish 11-1. I think that's where I had them 11-1 or 10-2. I could be wrong, but definitely didn't expect 9-4. Obviously, beat a team like Iowa 35-0 in a bowl game. I don't put too much stock into that because Iowa's offense was trash all season long, and I'm pretty sure they had sit-outs as well, which made it even worse. Mm-hmm. But I'm very excited to see Nico play next year. I'm very excited to see that. I think he is in a situation where there's not many other offenses that he could be in that would let him. And I know I said this about Joe Milton, so bear with me, but not many offenses in college football are going to let him have free reign and throw the ball all over the place. And like I said, I know I said that with Joe Milton, but 20 touchdowns and 5 interceptions is not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's not Heisman numbers like I expected, but it's not bad numbers at the end of the day as well. I think Nico's going to play well next year. I don't know exactly how well he did in the bowl game. I'm going to pull it up right now, just on the fly. Obviously, against Iowa, who's a decent defense, 150 yards, 1 touchdown. So he obviously didn't have crazy numbers in the bowl game. I didn't watch that bowl game. I'm not sure if you watched it. I didn't watch that one. I think I was at
Yeah, I
work
watched
that
a
day.
little bit of it.
But again, I think this team has some work to do. Unfortunately, they're not going to be my pick for the playoff next year. I think the SEC is going to be absolutely loaded. We talked about Ole Miss yesterday, or 2 days ago. We obviously are going to talk about Alabama with DeBoer. Georgia's back in the action. Mizzou has kind of came on strong. So there's going to Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So I think Tennessee definitely has some work to do. We're going to preview them obviously later in the summer. But I would, as of right now, probably anticipate another, 9-3, 8-4 type season in the regular season. And that's just me off the top of my head. I don't even know who they play, but I just don't see them taking a huge leap towards playoff kind of aspirations when we really didn't see that from them this year. And I don't think Nico is going to be leap and bounds better than Joe Milton was this year. I know that they're probably going to get a few people in the transfer portal. As far as I know, there's no big names that's going to Tennessee. I don't think they lost any big names either. I know they're getting a wide receiver from Tulane. So I know they're grabbing him. But I don't know what the ceiling for this team is going to be. This might be one of the more difficult ones to preview when the time comes. But as far as if you're a Tennessee fan, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people, had Tennessee going 9-4 this year. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure they started in the top 12 this year.
Yeah.
And they stumbled all the way back. Obviously, they finished in the top 20. But I think at one point they were ranked outside of the top 25. And they kind of crawled their way back late. But again, the three of those losses were not bad by any means. Losing to 3 top 10 teams at the end of the year, their final ranking. So I still don't think it was a bad year by any stretch of the imagination, but it just wasn't what the hype and the expectation was, in my opinion.
Yeah, so they did lose Jalin Wright, their 1,000-yard rusher. They brought back Dylan Sampson. He was their 2-back. He had a pretty good year. He went for over 600 yards. He actually led them in rushing touchdowns.
Is it Dylan or is it Dylan?
I don't know. Dylan.
It's got to be Dylan. But keep going.
What is it's spelled D-Y-L-A-N? That's Dylan.
Bro, keep going, bro.
Whatever it is, I think. But he led them in rushing touchdowns, so he's back. I'm gonna go for it. Ready? Nico Amialova. Something like that. So I think we saw the skills, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to temper my expectations. I think we put so much on Joe Milton last year, so much expectations when we didn't have a big sample size, and I'm going to temper those expectations with him. You remember this was the big time recruit, supposed to be getting like $13 million from Florida and NIL money. Somehow that did not come through. Ended up going to Tennessee. So this was a 5-star guy. So the expectations in terms of talent and what he was able to do in high school are very high. But like I said, I want to see it on the field first. But I like the receiving situation. They bring back Brew McCoy, Squirrel White. Squirrel White, if you guys remember, was a very good receiver last year, over 800 yards. So they bring back a pretty good receiving core. And like I said, if you match that with Sampson, I'm not going to try his first name again since you said said it wrong. You match that with Sampson, and hopefully if he gets some of those carries that Wright got, his numbers should increase. So they're bringing back talent. There's reason for optimism, but like you, I'd probably say right now off the top of my head, an 8-4 team, which is not a bad season. Not necessarily the back that we want from Tennessee, that we suspected last year from Tennessee, but you'd be doing it with a very young quarterback. This gives him an opportunity to build some experience, and then going into the next year, you may be in a better place.
Yeah, I'm excited to do the preview for Tennessee. I'm definitely excited to do the preview for them, to kind of dive into who they're playing this year, the schedule they have. Obviously, like we said, the SEC is going to be completely loaded. With the 12-team playoffs, it's not impossible that they make a playoff run. I just think it'll be kind of tough. But again, Tennessee fans or SEC fans, if you found this video, please do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. We do have our live show coming Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. You do have a chance to win that signed Tim Tebow jersey, so please show up there for a chance to win that. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.